And let that be the story, the healing, the response, which we're going to cover at the end of this briefing. We're going to talk about what's behind me. We're going to talk about the weather and what we're doing to respond, our warming centers, how we can respond if something were to happen that is ice related, that power goes out. We're going to talk about 2 different shootings that happened in Vienna Township within 4 days and within a half a mile. We're going to talk about behind this picture, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of narcotics and about a $225,000 cash seizure that Ghost made. And we're going to do it all right now. So thank you for tuning in. We're going to be right to the point. This is John L. Allen Bay. John and Al and I have known each other since 1993. And we started in the jail, and we kind of grew up in the jail. And he went his way, and I went my way. And Percy Glover was there, and we got reunited back in 2019. And you might have seen the face and known the name because he's a county ambassador, as is Percy Glover. And throughout these last 2.5 years, as we roll out Ignite and all the things we've been doing, our relationship between the county, the police, race relations, the community, it's all been part of this big team effort. Those behind the cameras right now at the sheriff's office, those within the jail, those on the street, law enforcement, the Ignite rollout, all those things, John Al, have rolled into what really brings us where we are today. We launched Ignite on September 8, 2020. That's the inmate education model that we have. It's not a program, it's a culture change.
Absolutely.
We've been able to teach over 200,000 hours, partnered with UAW, the Red Wings, U of M, Michigan State, Brown University, Mount Morris, and so many others. And what we do is we change the culture in the jail, and that has been duplicated to 7 states now. The National Sheriff Association has made this the model of the jail. And I just talked to Major Jason Gould before this briefing, and he's got 5 more counties that have just called this week alone to our friends at the NSA in Washington to launch Ignite there. It is a proven model that works. We're so excited for it. All that is the reason why I believe you are nominated, in addition to all the other work that you do, because you're now a full-time county employee as a returning citizen. And behind me is the recognition from former President Barack Obama as a Lifetime Achievement Award. Tell us about this.
Well, it's a great honor, Sheriff. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody. It's a team effort. The Genesee County Sheriff's Office, Nation Outside, the community, all around the country. People have seen what we've done and put a faith in that space, and it just happens to be mine. I'm fortunate enough to be in this place and be able to carry this torch. And so I don't have a job. I tell people, I says, helping people is not a job. It's just an honor for me. And to come in here on a daily basis to help people is what it's all about. So I'm thankful.
Thanks,
I appreciate
brother.
you.
And I just want everybody to know that this is what second chances are all about. Tell the folks why being a returning citizen is important and what that really means.
Well, what it is that I represent 80 million people in this country. And they're not just black people. They're not just white people. They're just not brown people. These are people who have made bad choices, and yet they got a second chance, you know. And having that second chance has given me an opportunity to be able to uplift fallen humanity. And so I take this with pride to be able to do the work that I'm doing, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to do this. So,
how many years you do in prison? 29
years. And it helped me be able to be in this place today, because one thing that I learned is people. You know, you always live around people of different culture. Some are good, some are bad, you know, but the thing about it is, how do you help them?
Yeah.
And that's what this platform has given me. This is such an honor. I am really, really proud of the moment that I get a chance to be able to do something for somebody else.
Right
and
on.
That's what I've been given. Thank you again.
All right, we shake hands. We're doing a lot of hand hugs. A lot of hand hugs. So he's a crier. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I know he might bust out a tear on this one. I got to ask you a question. What year was your incident?
It was June of 1990.
I am so glad that I'm not the same dude that I was in June of 1990.
Wow.
And neither are you. Neither are you the same woman, the same person, because we evolve. And even law enforcement, you've heard us use the term, I don't subscribe to police reform.
Yes.
I subscribe to police evolution. That's the term that we use. That's why Operation Arrowhead's so successful, Ghost, our partnerships, because we have to constantly evolve. Everybody out there, everybody's been given a second chance. and everybody out there is different than they were back then. So I just want to say thank you for all those that are striving to just do it better, to reclaim your territory, to come away from an addiction and not be remembered as the person of the past, but known as the person of who you are now. And this Lifetime Achievement Award, this was given to you, and you were in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
Obviously, you see this beautiful plaque, and you were one of how many that received the award?
I think it's 44 throughout the country.
You took your wife?
Yeah, and just to be there, I was sitting next to this old lady, and I told her I was a returning citizen. And when she heard about the accomplishment, she said some of the funniest things. She says, "How do I become a returning citizen?" So
Don't do what I did.
Right.
Don't do what I did.
But it just shows, the culture change and where we evolved as a nation of people. For me to be able to stand before all those doctors, all of those people, and knowing that, I'm representing Flint, Genesee County.
Here's the crazy thing. I didn't nominate him. I didn't nominate you.
You should. But anyway.
I did. I wouldn't. I know there's
I'm
other
just
folks that
playing.
would have,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
you get nominated by people from out of state.
Yeah, out of state. First of all, shout out to our California friends, Talisha Berry, who's always watching what we do.
Ooh,
our
watching
friends
now.
in North Carolina, that's always watching what we do. And Fargo,
Listen to this.
Fargo, North Dakota. So
We went there to launch Ignite with the sheriffs up there, and they rolled it out. And you did your first trip up there, and it was a crazy good trip, and we ended up launching there. So I just want to thank you. This is what he just said is what I get to do. I get to represent all the good work the sheriff's office does every day. This county does. We're known all over the country, and we're respected. We're going to keep doing it. So here's to all those at work. Janelle, congratulations. I'll let you walk off camera, and we got more to talk about. So
thank you.
We're going to talk about all of this right here. The weather outside, people talk about what the winter weather storm is, and obviously it's there, it's Michigan. We listen to our local news. That's what I want to push everybody to when it comes to what we can expect. I'm not a meteorologist. We got 12-5 mid-Michigan out there. They're the very best. Listen to them when it comes to what's to come. But I can tell you, as the sheriff, I'm also the emergency manager of the county. So we have warming centers. We have people that we can pull in if we need to evac, and AFC homes that need to maybe be transferred. So I just want to go over some of these things that we already have in place. Clearly, the jail for our homeless population at night is open to make sure that there's a place for our homeless to stay, just like My Brother's Keeper, just like Carriagetown Mission, the Y. But also we have friends that are in New Jerusalem, on Carpenter Road, in Judson Baptist Church in Burton. These are both Red Cross shelters that are identified. Our MTA friends, all those buses are up and running. If we need to transport as many people out of a facility, let's just say an AFC loses power because of the ice, then we're going to transport them to another facility. Consumers Energy, they're already up and running. Trucks are there. Bucket trucks are ready. Road Commission, I was talking to Commissioner Ellenberg, the board chair. She's already been in contact with the road commissioner. They've got well over 65 trucks that are already out on the streets. They're taking care of that. Salvation Army is also there on standby. We work hand in hand with the Salvation Army to make sure that all of our resources are available. That's one thing about policing, is not only do we respond, but we provide resources. And not only do we provide resources, we are proactive. And so I have Captain Jill Macy here. And, she was, you might think, man, I just saw when she was promoted lieutenant. That's how fast she moved up the ranks. Captain Macy is our second female captain commander. Captain Nelson, Carrie Ann was our first. So it's so great to take you from where you were as a Grace Lieutenant into the jail. She runs the entire office of Sheriff Jail. She took over for Captain Gould, and she does so many different special projects. And one of the things with your new role in the jail is to continue on what we're doing with Ignite. And Ignite is the education model, but we are the end user many times of people that struggle with literacy. And many times these folks just don't have the ability or the resources or sometimes even the encouragement to make sure that you read and you read often. So we decided to do something crazy last year. I got in trouble for it. I'm gonna tell you I did. I got in trouble for being too loud, for having too much energy sometimes, causing disruption, because I love a good time. We started with our Sheriff Swanson Pizza Party Spectacular for the month of March, and it is something that Captain Macy is leading, and we're gonna do it again, and I may or may not get in trouble again. So tell everybody what we're doing, how they can be involved.
So once again, we are starting off the month of March. March is reading month with the second annual Pizza Party Extravaganza. We're kicking it off to all Genesee County area elementary age students. All this information is going to be kicked out to the principals around the area so that you can get involved. All it requires is you students to keep on reading just like they have been all year, and you got to lug the books. We got these fancy QR codes on all these posters. We're going to be issuing all the kids bookmarks so that they have that QR code easy and accessible to make it easy for them and their parents to log their reading as we go through the month of March. At the end of the month, we're going to have another presentation of the schools and students that are the top 3. Our top 3 schools are going to win
Wait
pizza
for
party.
it. Yes.
We're also going to give away cash to the principals of those schools so that they can turn that money back to support their staff for all the good things that they're doing. And this year we're going to increase it a little bit. We're going to give $50 gift cards to the top 3 students that place in our contests, because we want to recognize those students that are doing the amazing reading for the schools that are participating. So again, look for this information to be coming out. It's going to be up on our Facebook page. It's going to be coming out to your principals next week. March is just around the corner. Hard to believe it's going to be here next week. But March's Reading Month kicks off, and so does this pizza party extravaganza.
So behind the scenes is the principal for the first place school, Dye Elementary was last year. I give not county money, Chris Swanson money to the principal, $1,000 for the first place winner, $500 for the second place, and $250 to the principal of the third place. And that goes directly back to whoever that principal wants to support within their staff. It's to spend on them. But the students get the pizza, they get inflatables, they get a bunch of police cars making it fun, chaos, and then we get to leave. But we had comments.
The teachers love it.
That's right, that's right. This is to all the teachers that never thought Chris Swanson would be able to sit still and do something. See, I can be the sheriff, and so can you if you sit still and don't sit still. But the other thing too is it encourages students to read and have fun about it. March is National Literacy Month. It's Reading Month for the country. It makes a lot of sense. We have a big event we're doing in March, again, with Coach Harbaugh, my dear friend from Michigan football, on March 22nd. You'll be able to win some VIP tickets because it's a limited group, but you're going to love that event. So bookmark that, no pun intended. So thanks, Captain Macy. We'll have that posted on our site. Every elementary school in the county, both in the county, in the city, they're all eligible. We track it by pages, and we have our Excel spreadsheet that tracks it. Do you know how many pages we read last month?
I know it was over 1 million pages last year when we had this contest.
Yes.
So the kids in the Genesee County area knocked it out of the park with the pages that they read, and we look forward to throwing that number up.
3 million.
No problem this year. So.
All right, thanks so much. As we continue on, thank you, Captain Macy. I'm going to bring Captain Jason Murphy up here. And now we're going to get into the law enforcement things. You know, we talked about the 2 shootings that we had in Vienna Township. These are 2 shooters, but they're 2 different cases, but they still involve the weapon. So Captain Murphy used to be the lieutenant and the detective up in Vienna Township. For those in the north end, you may recognize his face. But we had 2, which was unusual. One was on Super Bowl Sunday, and then 4 days later we had a second one. And how close were they?
Half a mile. One was in the 12,000 block, the other in 13,000 block in Neff Road, so a half mile away.
Wow. So I know we can't get into all the details, but tell me about Joshua, age 35, who was arrested and as part of the investigation.
Yeah, Josh was living on the 12,000 block in Neff Road with a friend of his, well, a friend at the time. That friend allowed him to stay there, have some of his property there. On Super Bowl Sunday, they had an argument over the property, and Josh fired 2 rounds, one of which struck the victim, 34 years old, in the chest. After doing the investigation, it was determined that it went through his hand, through and through, and then lodged in his chest. And our paramedic deputies did a great job, and they saved that 34-year-old victim on his way to Hurley. We're
going to kind of go and review how important these medics are that are in the county, and because they responded again 4 days later when there was a 21-year-old that was involved in a shooting with a friend. What happened there?
Absolutely, same thing. They're both living in an apartment. House broke down into apartments. They're living in the same apartment. The 21-year-old suspect had just recently purchased this firearm, and you know, it's surprising, but 2 days before he shot our victim, he accidentally fired the round in the house as well. The victim didn't know that. That day, he was trying to clean the gun, break it down, fired a round which went through our victim, who was 20's arm, and lodged into the side of his chest. His parents actually drove him to Hurley, and that's how we found out about the call.
Wow. So there's a couple lessons in here. Number one, if you don't know how to use a firearm, then those firearms are 10 times more dangerous. And obviously there's a lot of talk, and there should be, about firearm safety, storage, usage, who should have them, who should not. Here's an example of just 2 shootings that happened in a nice neighborhood that's not normally a place where you'd have 2 shootings back to back by any means. But I want to give a lot of credit to our county medics that are out there. Behind the camera, Sean Clayton, who's the sergeant for the medic division. He represents many sergeants within the sheriff's office that are assigned to the medic division, lieutenants, Captain Cronkright. We got 28 county medics that maybe you've seen them, and now we're transitioning to the Black Tahoes, but also our relationships with Hurley Genesis and McLaren's trauma centers. Captain just talked about that shooting victim was transferred POV, personal vehicle, right to Hurley, and those trauma doctors and nurses brought them, and both victims are alive today because of that system. So thank a medic, thank an EMT out there, thank somebody who's not even from the sheriff's office that's in a big box mod that's out there responding to 911 calls. You may not even have to be in Genesee County. If you see them at a stop sign, stoplight, make sure you give them a thank you, because that's a big deal. That's how these trauma victims stay alive. Thank you to Captain Murphy and your team. Stay up here real quick, because you not only handle the investigations when it comes to what we're doing at the sheriff's office, but you are intimately involved with this dope arrest that we've made. Now, this is a lot of money, and it's a lot of high-end jewelry. Without identifying the suspect, we're going to keep that to us. There was an investigation that was birthed out of the GHOST team, because one thing we've always said is human trafficking and narcotics, they're interdependent. They go hand in hand. Many times they get their victims high or addicted, and then they use that as leverage to be trafficked. Many times they take that money that's bought from the dope and they buy their victims, or even they sell stills and videos of the actual assault, and they use that money. So this is all one and the same. Fastest growing criminal enterprise, human trafficking. Number 1 criminal enterprise, narcotic trafficking. And that's what we have right here. So this is a GHOST incident. Tell us how we started, what we have over here, and I'm going to lay out how much cash we have.
Yeah, the GHOST guys, they did a long, exhausting investigation into this gentleman in the city of Flint to determine that he was selling narcotics. Spent a lot of time on it, and it turned out that he was a very large scale cocaine dealer in the city.
And I'll give you an example. This is what we call compressed powder cocaine. This is what breaks down and not only sells as powder, but also can be broken into crack cocaine, which is still a problem within our communities and across the country. But notice this is compressed, because a lot of times they use their own presses to compress it so it's easier to transport. And so when we see compressed cocaine, we know that it either comes from out of the country, or it's actually being manufactured and compressed right here in Genesee County. And of course, with the drug trafficking, it allows us to go and find out what is fueling this. And a lot of it is money, it's greed. So here's an example of a $46,000 Rolex. This right here, we took it to get appraised, and what did they say the boss necklace was?
That was between like $30,000 and $50,000.
Everything you see here is all individual diamonds, diamond encrusted. And then of course, each one of these stacks are $10,000. We have a procedure to take all this. We've got to hold it for 90 days based on state law. But this, everything you see right here, just the money and the property is $225,000 in a seizure, not including the amount of money that that narcotic is valued at. So I say all that to say, the drug trade is out there, it's alive, it's what feeds the human trafficking industry and vice versa. GHOST is human oppression, and that includes anything that oppresses our people. And so we're so thankful to the commissioners who support GHOST and those that support us from other counties. We just talked to another county today, because what we find is folks travel. And interestingly enough, and I think I mentioned this to you, and we're almost done, but I got a call from one of my friends, Chris Hansen. And he did an operation with a sheriff out of state. I'm talking way out of state, about 1,500 miles away. And he called me a week ago Monday. He says, you won't believe this, but we did an operation in this state. And not only did they pay attention and watch what you guys are doing up in Flint, Genesee County, one of our arrests, and it was a 7-day op, the suspect was from Saginaw, Michigan. And the vehicle that he drove down there was bought in Clio, Michigan. And he was a convicted sex offender from Michigan. And he was 1,500 miles away. There are no boundaries when it comes to human trafficking. And that's why GHOST works with other counties, other states, the National Sheriff Association, MSA, the Michigan Sheriff Association. That's why Captain and I and all the team, we will give our information to anybody. It's really important that you are part of that too. So you could go right now, and I'm going to ask Sergeant Sprague to put into the comments the GHOST certification link, so you can take that. You can take and watch the 3 videos that we do. one involving the Larry Nassar case out of Michigan State, and getting into the mind of a predator. But also, you can take that test, and once you complete it, Captain gets an auto-populated message. We send you a certificate, and a ghost certificate with a sticker. Now, that sticker, that ghost certification, you put up somewhere, and because we brand ghost, people know what it stands for. They may not be comfortable coming to Jason or me, but they may be comfortable coming to you because you own a restaurant, or you go to a church, or you have a school, and you've taken this, and they want to tell their story. So we want to make it very clear, ghost certification is out there to bring you into this process of setting people free. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks, sir.
So we're going to close out with what happened a little over a week ago at Michigan State, and of course we're only 15 months post Oxford, and I say all that because it doesn't matter where you are and how you cheer. When people are injured, everybody shows up, and that's exactly what we did that night. As a community, as a law enforcement community, when the shots went out at 8:18 at night, within minutes, those that were responding quickly, they not only responded the way they were trained, but also they saved additional lives. And I'm so thankful for those that were there. For those that came from outside East Lansing, all the different uniforms and all the different people that gave of themselves, it was an honor to see and to serve. But what stood out the most to me was the students that were there. And there's a group of 12 students that were coming from an athletic center, and they were not NCAA athletic competitors, they were just athletes. And they were going to another safe building that we had that was through the command center. And as they walked up, it was approximately 10:45 at night. Their hands were up, they had basketballs, they had their shoes, and they were all kind of a group that was quiet. They were told to come to the command center. And I started asking questions of where they were going to go, and they told us we got them in single file. And as we put them in that building where MSU and East Lansing PD was doing single searches, we didn't know what was in the bags. At that point, everybody was a suspect. It was stunning to see the composure that these college students had. The presence of mind to be very calm, to be very methodical and very grateful. And that's what stood out is these college kids have been trained to do this their whole life. And I'm so thankful because I know that it happened in Oxford. I wasn't the investigator, but talking to those that were on scene, and I saw it live, that many times we keep people safe because the shooters run out of targets. And that's when the system works, is when you flee, fight, or freeze. When you run, hide, fight. When you do one of those threes, that's what happens, and that's what you need to think about when it comes to if this happens where you are. It has to be on autopilot. There are agencies across the country that will help teach your organization, your office, your family how to do that. We will come in, we will acknowledge it, we will build out a plan, and that's not only just the sheriff's office, that's anything. But you need to know in advance wherever you are. Do you run, do you hide, do you freeze? Do you run, do you hide, do you freeze? Do you fight? What do you do? What are the things that you do? And when you do that, and it comes second nature, that's what keeps people safe. Now, there's a whole lot of discussion going on, and I get that, but I just want to give a real intimate thank you to all the students, the teachers, the families, all those that invested in the training operation of Michigan State, because I saw it live, and the team that we brought saw it live. And there were so many people from Genesee County who had family that work in the East Lansing, and kids go there. It's a massive, massive campus. It's a city, but it was humbling to be there. I want you to know that we are well prepared, but we're going to continue to prepare. Here in this county, there are 28 police agencies, myself and 27 partners. From the federal, state, local, county, we all work together. And we have these incidents that when we show up, others are coming. We work with our firefighters, our EMS, but we have a system in place. And it is chaos in the beginning, but in what happened at MSU, it wasn't shortly thereafter. I remember looking at the email that was sent out to the students saying that the scene is secure, the shelter-in-place order is lifted, and the students and the parents came out within seconds by the thousands because the system was followed. If you don't know what the system is, take this opportunity wherever you are and investigate. Find out. Don't think that it can't happen to you. If you're in Genesee County, I'll be happy to help you. But we want you to know MSU, Michigan State, Spartan Nation, that we're Spartan strong with you. Have a great day.